Hi YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps, and this video is all about ideas on repurposing and reusing, bringing new life to fabric, paper, and ribbon strips and remnants. Okay, so I have returned back to my first crafty love, which is making books and journals. When I first started crafting, really crafting in 2004, that's what I made. And I had a little business doing so. And I'm super excited, you guys. Real soon, I will debut a collection of handmade books and journals for sale. I'm super duper excited about that. But this video is all about repurposing strips of paper, fabric, and ribbon because I've been working a lot with fabric in preparation of making my books and journals. These are the pieces I was interested in from this die. These square fabric shapes is what I wanted to make, but I didn't want to throw away the frame because that's a lot of fabric, right? A lot of times we have a lot of remnant and scrap pieces left and we don't know what to do with them. Now I'm guilty, like many of you, of throwing away fabric and paper scraps. And by the way, you guys, you hear my landscaper out there. For me right now, I'm enjoying the sound. It's taking me back to my childhood on those Saturday mornings, waking up to hear the lawnmower. So I do apologize for any disturbances. Okay, so I used this die to cut out this frame. So I was left with these frames that look like this. Now I could have used these just as they are, but what I decided to do was take the frame and cut them into strips. Really easy. Just do it like that because I thought I could use these strips in other ways. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to offer 3 ideas on repurposing all of your remnants and scraps, starting with this basic strip or scrap of fabric. Nothing particular about it, right? Well, I am going to use burlap. I picked up this from Target. Many of you did several years ago for $1, right? You got all of this burlap, 3 yards. Have not seen it since at Target. Love this stuff. Well, I'm going to take that, the fabric strip, and this trim to create adornments that look like this. I mean, isn't this charming, right? The fabric strips or scraps work perfectly the way they are. No perfect trims. You see here, I didn't even trim the bottom off. All that adds character. I love junk journaling because you can create things like this. Nothing goes to waste. So super easy to do. Now I used my sewing machine, which I love to sew on paper, but you could use hot glue, you could use fabric glue. You do not need a sewing machine. What you do is take your strip of burlap. You can also buy this by the yard at your craft store, and I just layered the fabric on top, took this trim, and the way we go inside the sewing machine. Watch how easy this is. I'm using a basic sewing needle, basic thread, and I'm going to add a zigzag stitch. Love the sound of the sewing machine. And just watch how adorable this comes out. Look at that, right? Love this particular fabric. All of my fabric is thrifted. I love the thrifted stuff because you can find a lot of fabric that's no longer available. Now, I could take this and cut this down into size pieces that I would need. So super easy, right? Now, you could also take the same strip, you guys, and with your scrap paper, let me show you something. Okay, so I no longer, well, maybe because of this video, I'll return back to keeping my scraps of paper, but I used to hoard my scraps of paper. Never did use it. And so I then began to recycle them in the trash because I had like pounds and pounds. I threw this away in my craft room garbage the other day. I was too lazy to get up and get paper, so I dug this from my garbage can, and let me show you something so cute that I made with the scraps of fabric and scraps of paper. Take a look at these adornments. Isn't this the cutest, right? Rescued paper from my garbage bin. Isn't these adorable? No thought. I have a motto for myself. Don't think, create. And I just love how these turned out. So this is what I did. Because I used up a lot of my scraps to make these ribbon adornments. And then I got kind of tired. I'm like, ugh, you know, after a while, you just kind of get tired doing the repetitive stuff. And so I thought, how can I use my additional scraps? Well, what I did was I took the ribbon because I had some pieces, you know, they all kind of tear up differently. I had some pieces didn't seem as though I could salvage them. So I'm going to use a different paper, but I took my remnants and I just placed them on my paper just as they were and began to stitch. No thought, create. However it turned out is how it turned out. Okay, so I was filming and I deleted the segment, you guys. So let me walk you through what I did. First of all, pay attention to the shape of my card. I did not use a die to create it. I took a strip of remnant scrapbooking paper, kind of like this, and used my scissors and just cut off this strip of paper. And now it has become the foundation for a beautiful junk journal adornment. You see here, I've added a button. And I added the button using one of my all-time favorite crafty tools. This is a tagger gun. I will have this linked below in the description box. I also offered a review on several tagger guns. If I remember, I will link that below. But you can easily and quickly attach buttons, charms, anything to your creations. I absolutely love it and I highly recommend it. Now, I could have added additional fabric strips like I've done here. I've added 2 types of strips, but I'm going to leave it as is. The last thing to do is to add my word ribbon. I found a lot of rolls, and I've shared some of these, of this beautiful, it's basic, it's twill ribbon that has the words believe, imagine, and create on them. What I did was I just cut off the word, right? And I can attach it like that using the tagger gun. You just have to be careful that you don't poke yourself. Love this tool. Love, love, and love. And look, you guys, I have taken my strips of paper, taken my ribboned fabric strips, and I've made a beautiful junk journal adornment / embellishment. So I guess I have 4 ideas, not 3. For this next idea, I'll walk you through what I did because it's really basic. It's self-explanatory. I took my pieces of scrap paper, added some ribboned fabric strips, and added a board game card and made something that looks like this. So here are some examples. It may not look like much in scrapbooking, but once again, in junk journaling, I mean, you can do a lot with this, and I love the look. It has the mixed media feel because of the papers and the fabric, and then you can also make something like this. I took several pieces of, well, 2 pieces of fabric strips, some crochet trim, and sewed it onto a piece of cardstock. Okay, so for my final example, and this is really cute, you guys, well, many of you use your dies on fabric, and I've done that here, and you can see that I used a heart die. Well, you could do a whole lot with this in junk journaling, right? You could use it as is, or what you can do, and this is what I created, and it's so stinking cute. Okay, I cut off one of the hearts and made this cute junk journal embellishment. Isn't it so charming? Look at it. Okay, so we are going to make something similar to this. Okay, so I'm using my rescued paper I threw away, and this remnant piece, and my sewing machine. And the sewing machine, you guys, it stitches beautifully on corrugated cardstock. I love it. Look at that. And I like to keep my threads. Well, these are pretty long, so I might trim them. But take a look at that, right? And now it's all about adding a little button or a different type of embellishment. Should I do purple? I'm just working with what I have before me. That's kind of big, right? You know what? I'm going to use it though. And my tagger gun. I could just use one, but I like to use 2. And then I'm going to add, I need to cut another word off my twill ribbon. Ooh. Let's do believe. How about I put that down here? Now, if I wanted to, I could have stitched on this ribbon, but why not use the tagger? So look at how charming and adorable this is. And this is using scrap and remnant pieces. You could do a whole lot with it. I love it. This is probably my fave because I love that thrifted fabric. I love that print. Well, you guys, I hope you have been inspired by my creativity. If you have, why not give me a thumbs up? Why not subscribe? Why not share this video? Adopt any of my ideas. I only ask for proper credits. Please give shout outs and do link back to this video. And you guys, be on the lookout for my debut video sharing my my journals and my books that I will once again have for sale. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. As always, blessings.